Hey guys, welcome back to a new video, but first please excuse the crudity of this model, didn't have time to build it to scale and paint. Anyways, we are testing the GeForce RTX 2070 on an older Intel platform. This is the Core i7-3770, but today we are going to test this on a 4K TV. And not just 4K TV, this is an HDR enabled TV. So we shall see how the games perform in 4K, but if you want to see the 1080p performance, click over here. I made a video about that, but I'm still waiting for different parts to arrive for my new PC. So till then we'll do some testing with this, and when I build my new PC with a faster CPU, then once again we'll repeat these tests. But to be honest, I think the RTX 2070 is more like a 1440p card, not a 4K card. If you want to play 4K games, get the 2080 Ti. So before we begin the benchmarks, let me also tell you that the camera I use to record my videos, the Sony Alpha A6300, this one does 4K in 24.9 FPS. So there is no 60 FPS option for 4K recording on this camera. So whatever you will see on your screen is actually being recorded in 24.9 FPS, but don't worry, you guys will be able to see the actual frame rate on the screen right over here. For benchmarking, I'll be using Msi Afterburner, and you guys will be able to see everything on the top left hand side corner of the screen. But the display resolution is 4096 into 2160. So that's a little bit higher than your regular 4K, but this is the native resolution of this TV. Now because we are doing tests in 4K, I will be overclocking the GPU, and MSI has this utility called Dragon Center, and this one will automatically overclock your GPU. So you can see we have plus 140 megahertz on the clock and plus 7 on the core clock, which is not much. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like this and let's start playing some games. So guys, here we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider running in almost maximum settings. Let's go to options, then display and graphics. You see it's running in 4096 into 2160. VSync is off and anti-aliasing is also off. If you turn on anti-aliasing, this game kind of becomes unplayable. Then if we go to graphics, I've set the texture filtering to trilinear just to get better FPS. Then I also turned off motion blur. It kind of makes me dizzy because I'm looking at the screen from very close. But yeah, the game works fine. Now I wanna actually record this in-game footage in the game because this graphics card can do that. We have shadow play, but I'm not sure what kind of an impact it will have on the frame rate. So let's try this, and I'll try and include this little clip. Did you see that? We had a little drop. Seems to have stabilized. Let's see how it goes. And keep in mind, the software that I use to process my videos, iMovie, it will scale down the frame rate to 24.9, which is the maximum frame rate my camera is able to capture in 4K. So it might not seem completely smooth in the recording, but trust me, it's butter smooth. I mean, this game is working fine.
Jonah, I made it.
I'm on my way in. Almost there.
Sorry I didn't wait. Be careful.
So I think there's a cutscene here, but you can see we've got 64 max, 53 average, okay, 54 average, and 50 was minimum. So we are at the next stage, and I want you guys to take a look at that CPU usage. As soon as I turn here, it will touch 100, and that indicates that there is a CPU bottleneck. Now right now the game is running super smooth, no issues. You see the let me start the benchmark. You see that the frame rate drops immediately as soon as the CPU usage kind of climbs. So even though we are running this game in 4K maxed out, you see the minimum frame rate 29, and that happened when the CPU usage touched 100%. You see how much of a headroom the graphics card has right now. I mean, we can easily pump out like 50 plus FPS in this game at this scene, provided we had a faster CPU. So are you guys watching this? The CPU usage is still 100%. This is like actual 4K maxed out Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, does look great, doesn't it? When you watch this on the TV, it looks super smooth. It's just choppy in the video because iMovie processes everything down to 24.9 FPS.
Excuse me.
So I'm gonna stop recording. I'm really not sure what kind of an impact it has on frame rate, but increased a little bit. So for benchmarking, just keep the recording off. But the CPU usage is like still very high. I mean, it's occasionally touching 100%. Alright, so this is as far as I'll go. We've got 72 max, 50 average, and 29 lowest. This lowest frame rate is not because of the graphics card. This is because of the CPU. And you guys just saw that the CPU was touching 100%. The graphics card still had a lot more headroom. Alright guys, here we are in Rise of the Tomb Raider. This game is running in 4K and it's maxed out. Yes, it's maxed out. So let's go to video settings here and I'll show you my settings. So first off, display, we are running this game in 4096 into 2160 4K. But for this game to run properly, I had to turn off anti-aliasing. Then if we go to graphics, everything is set to very high here. So almost maxed out, but anisotropic filter I've set it to trilinear, which is the lowest. Then ambient occlusion is set to on. You can turn it off if you want additional performance, but on is fine. So yeah, let's go ahead and play this, start the benchmark. But yeah, in 4K maxed out, this is like, wow. I know I say that a lot. Yeah, you can see, yeah, 50 FPS. Okay, so watch this part. I remember when I was playing this game in 1080p, it would lag at this location. But in 4K, it seems to work fine. I mean, the CPU usage is not that much. In 1080p, the CPU usage was touching like 100 occasionally. I think it was at this location. No, it's still touching 100. Yeah, but the game does not lag as such as it was doing in 1080p. Yep, working fine. So look at this, guys, absolutely stunning. Once again, like I said in my previous video, this scene is quite complex. So we're still getting decent frame rate here. 47 is the lowest, 54 average, and 57 max. So once we do drop these settings a little bit, it runs fine. And look at that. Alright, so we are playing Apex Legends. This is EA's version of Battle Royale, and I'm actually playing a match online. So let's take a look at the settings first, and game is going on, it's fine. But let's go to video, and you can see we are running the game in 4K, 4096 into 2160. Then VSync is off, anti-aliasing is off, then texture filtering is set to bilinear, the ambient occlusion quality is set to medium, then shadow detail is set to high, and rest of the settings are maxed out. So sort of an ultra to high setting, and does look good. Let's start the benchmark and I'll continue playing the game. Alright, so I'll play the game and I'll be back. So look at this, this is not half bad. I mean, 77 max, 54 average, 14 was minimum, and we are getting about 45-50 FPS. Oh yeah, we are running Battlefield 5, one of the few games that actually supports Nvidia's ray tracing out of the box. I want to see if this game works in 4K without a problem, and then we'll turn on ray tracing once we drop the resolution down. First off, I'll run this game in 4K, so let's go to options, video, and it's set to 4K. Then if we go to advanced settings, you see DXR is not enabled. So DXR is actually called ray tracing, DirectX ray tracing. So I'll keep this off for the first test, because if you turn this on, it has a huge performance impact. And then all the settings are set to ultra. So here it is, Battlefield 5 running in 4K maxed out, except ray tracing. So ray tracing, I haven't enabled it because I already know the frame rate will drop like crazy. But you see, our CPU usage is also quite high. in 90% even when the game is running in 4K. I think the recommended CPU for Battlefield 5 is i7 4790. So this CPU is not even in the recommended list. But our GPU is running at 98%. Now I'm not sure why it's not 100%, so maybe that's a CPU bottleneck somewhere. But just gonna play this game a little bit, and I mean, look at these visuals. I mean, wow. Even without ray tracing, this game looks stunning. I mean, look at that. Now I can use Nvidia's shadow play to record this, but I'm not sure what kind of an effect it'll have on the performance. Yeah, but this does look stunning. Oh, here are my men. So this is with ray tracing turned on, but look at that frame rate. It's not even playable at 20-25 FPS. But the thing is, with ray tracing you do get stunning visuals. I mean, look at that reflection. So guys, we are running this game in 1440p maxed out with ray tracing enabled. Now I've noticed one thing, because I've played through this once at 1440p with ray tracing enabled at maximum settings. The CPU is sort of a bottleneck. Sometimes what happens is the game starts lagging, the GPU usage drops, and the CPU usage stays at 90%. So I'm guessing that's some sort of hardware limitations. I'll do this test once again when I build my new PC. But with ray tracing turned on at 1440p, this game is sort of not playable. But from all these benchmarks I've seen online, this game is definitely playable at 1440p. So I have turned off ray tracing and this is running in 1440p. Yeah, much better experience. So let's turn on benchmark. Yeah, the game is a lot smoother. It's very difficult to shoot from where I'm standing. I don't want to get into the camera. But yeah, this is a much better experience. Even better than 4K. So I have tweaked a little bit of settings here just to get the game running in 4K at a better frame rate, so that it's more playable. Meanwhile, we don't compromise the visual quality of the game. So let's scroll down here and you see I have turned off anti-aliasing, and there's no off option here. And then ambient occlusion is set to SSAO. You can just turn it off. I'll turn it off just to get better frame rate. And then everything is set to ultra, and texture filtering is set to low. Yeah, low is fine. And texture quality is set to ultra. And I think it's like performing alright, and it's still running in 4K. Let's press escape. You see that frame rate? It's much better. So I'm just gonna play through this and we'll see how the game performs. Now here's the thing, the game itself works alright, but the cutscene sort of starts lagging. Now what happens when a cutscene comes, this GPU usage drops to like 2 to 3% and the CPU usage climbs up to 90. So I'm guessing the processor is a little bit slow for this game, and then you can see 10 gigabytes of RAM is being used up and 7.4 gigabytes of video memory is under use. So this game is actually quite memory intensive, and you cannot play this game while ray tracing is turned on in 4K. You do need a more powerful graphics card for ray tracing. But you can see no problems with the FPS, but the cutscenes don't work properly, especially in this resolution. But yeah, the game does look beautiful. Righto, so here we are running Doom in 4K maximum settings, and take a look at the frame rate, and yeah, we are running this in Vulkan. Anywho, the CPU usage is actually quite high. I was just doing a little playthrough and this would occasionally touch 100, but the GPU is also flexing its legs now. But look at the frame rate, we are averaging 100. And let me show you my settings. Let's go to video. Take a look at the resolution, 4096 into 2160. And yeah, we have turned up anti-aliasing for that smooth texture. Anyway, advanced, and here you can see everything is set to maximum. Right, so let's go ahead and start the benchmark. Press F7. I'm just gonna put the camera on a tripod and take it from there. Whoa, look at that, guys. Isn't that beautiful? And Doom is, wow, I mean, I'm speechless. Look at this, and especially seeing it running at 89 FPS, yeah, at maximum settings. This is beautiful. Alright guys, so this is as far as I'll go. Our maximum FPS, I don't think you can see that now, can ya? So let's see. So our maximum FPS has been 123. We had a minimum FPS of 61 and we have averaged around 89 FPS. So right now 91. So yeah, Doom works great on the system. RTX 2070 with Core i7 3770. Fairly capable system when it comes to running Doom in 4K. This is Battlefield 1. Let's go ahead and check the video settings first. So options, let's go to video, and you can see the resolution is set to 4096 into 2160. Then HDR is also available, and if we go to advanced, all the settings are turned up to ultra. And yeah, I'm using the high dynamic range mode, which is set to HDR 10. So let's again go ahead, play the campaign. So I have been playing through Battlefield 1 for a few minutes now, and take a look at that CPU usage. I mean, that's like 100%. And then, yeah, look at that, 100% CPU usage. But the game is quite playable. I don't see anything wrong with it. 40 was minimum, 63 average, and 76 max. Maybe when we stand in front of this line of fire, the frame rate will drop a little bit. Oh, did you see that? 31. There was a little bit of lag. Okay, so we've got maximum FPS of 76, 59 was average, and 31 minimum. And I see a CPU bottleneck in this game even when the game is running at 4K. I know guys, you have this burning question. Can you run Crysis on the 2070 with a Core i7 3770 maxed out in 4K? Well, take a look at yourself. Yes, we can, and we are getting about 55 FPS in this scene, and yes, it is maxed out. And let me show you. So let's go to options, then graphics. You see 4096 into 2160. Yeah, and then oops, let's go back here, options, advanced graphics. You see everything is set to ultra except motion blur. I don't really like motion blur, so I've turned it off, but everything else is set to ultra, maximum possible settings, and yeah, it's running fine in 4K. But you know, I would have never thought I'll be able to run Crysis maxed out in 4K. I mean, this is 4 times the resolution of 1080p. Yeah, this is crazy, and this game looks so damn good. By the way, this is Crysis 2 Maximum Edition. So let's go ahead and do the benchmark, see how it goes. But look at the game, man. This is just stunning. Whoa!
Gunfire! Gunfire! Moving out! God damn it!
Oh, there's another one there. Just doing the training mission in Hitman 2, max settings, in 4K of course. 80 FPS max, 51 average, and 40 is the lowest. And if you go to options and then graphics, you see 4096 into 2160, and everything is set to ultra and high. And that's really the maximum possible setting. Just gonna play through this for a while and see how it goes. But still playing Hitman 2, and look at this. 77 max, 53 average, 39 minimum. Not bad at all. So this is Wolfenstein New Order, maxed out 4K, max 62 FPS, average 51 and 34 minimum. You see that? 4096 into 2160. And if we go to advanced, everything is maxed out. And yeah, high is the maximum. Okay, so this is Need for Speed Most Wanted. I think this one came out in 2012, and again we are running this game at maximum possible settings, 4096 into 2160, and all the settings are set to maximum except the super sampling. Turned off super sampling because the game becomes slow if you turn up the super sampling option. But yeah, look at the graphics, man. I mean, I'm just like, wow. So I've been playing through this Need for Speed Most Wanted for about 10-15 minutes now. Just been driving around the city, and so let me just stop so I can explain it to you guys. You know what, I'll keep driving. But you can see I've got a minimum frame rate of 56 and 60 is the max. I could not find a way to turn off VSync on this. It looks like VSync is turned on, but yeah, the performance is great in this game. We are running at 4K maxed out. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Right guys, so we are running Dota 2 in 4K, and we are averaging around 100 FPS. Let me show you my settings. So let's go to settings, video. First off, look at the resolution, 4096 into 2160. Then everything here is set to max. I'm not sure why camera is not able to focus, but everything is set to max. Let's get out of here and begin our benchmark. Oh, and there's something really wrong with this camera's autofocus system, but yeah, you guys can see it here, and the game is running quite smoothly. And our CPU usage occasionally pins on 100% whenever there's a lot of action, but the GPU still has more headroom available. So I'm guessing if we had a faster CPU, we'd get more FPS out of this game. Even when there's a lot of action, frame rates are quite stable. So the minimum we've got is 75. So I think I'm gonna end this video here, but you can see minimum FPS 75, 99 FPS average, and 130 FPS max. Again, if we had a faster CPU, we would be able to crank out more frame rate, because we can see that the GPU is not being utilized to its full potential. It's barely going above 65%. Haven't seen it touch even like 80. So yeah guys, concluding thoughts, I think that the Ivy Bridge 3770 is still quite capable. I mean, this CPU is still kicking ass even after like 7 or 8 years. So yeah, still fairly capable CPU. I think this has been one of the best investments. I mean, I did spend a little extra getting the 3770, but this is the non-overclocked version. If you had the overclocked version, you might be able to crank out even more FPS. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. Do stay tuned for more videos like these. I mean, stay tuned for the new PC build. Thanks for watching. and I'll see you guys next time.